JP Morgan Chase generated $51 billion in profit over the last year, which has made it the world's largest bank in terms of investment banking revenue. Its credit cards, loans, and checking and savings accounts are nearly half of American households. In aggregate, as of September 30th, JP Morgan has $2.4 trillion in deposits and has become the largest U.S. bank by consolidated assets. In 2022, the company took some of its profits and spent $14 billion on improving its own technology. Only a dozen or so banks in the U.S. have more than $14 billion in revenue. Scale allowed the bank to even take the $6 billion loss done by a trader known as the London Whale in 2012 and still have record revenues that year. But who is leading this 21st century banking giant? Jamie Dimon steered JP Morgan Chase to its current success. Born in New York City in 1956 to a family of finance and banking professionals, his stockbroker grandfather played a key influence in his early life. Dimon attended the prestigious Browning School in New York City and Tufts University, where he majored in economics and psychology. At the start of his career, not everything went his way. He didn't get into his first choice college, and he also got rejected from 14 of the 15 jobs he applied to after. He famously became a protege of legendary finance executive Sandy Weill when Dimon wrote a thesis about the older financier. After working at Boston Consulting Group, he matriculated from Harvard Business School, where he obtained an MBA. Out of Harvard, Dimon followed Weill to American Express and soon after Commercial Credit. After Dimon and Weill grew Commercial Credit through several significant acquisitions, such as the Traveler Corp. Later, Commercial Credit combined with Citicorp in 1998 to make Citigroup, with Dimon as president of the new company. Then, suddenly, Weill fired Dimon from Citigroup after a decade of working with each other. Dimon didn't let that stop him and quickly became chairman and CEO of Bank One in 2000. In just 4 years, he grew the company's stock 59%, close to triple the growth of the S&P 500 over the same time period. JP Morgan Chase purchased Bank One in 2004, and Dimon became president and CEO of the combined company at that time. But just 3 years later, he was chairman and CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Shortly after, Dimon assumed leadership of JP Morgan Chase, the 2007-2008 financial crisis struck. Dimon, already having sold $12 billion in subprime mortgages in 2006, expanded JP Morgan quickly, buying Bear Stearns, once valued at nearly $12 billion, for just $260 million, and WAMU for $1.9 billion. In the process, JP Morgan Chase became the biggest bank in the US. Jamie Dimon gets to the essential point quickly. He's not afraid to have smart, talented people work for him. He's not afraid of firing people working for him. He talks constantly about doing the right thing. He has a temper. He doesn't stand for people coming in unprepared. He demands written reports 48 hours ahead of time. He absorbs more from those reports than his executives think possible. Dimon's impatient when it comes to his business. He is interested in his bank. This includes all its positions, but also the point of view of people on the front lines and 3 rungs below him. After the financial collapse, his new norm became cost-cutting by financial necessity. More acquisitions were out because of government approvals that would never come, and the rule that no bank could hold more than 10% of the nation's deposits. The path that remained was straightforwardly, cautiously running a bank. Dimon's ethos seemed to be an amalgamation of other big companies' ideas. Sam Walton's Walmart combined a broad offering with a preoccupation on costs. Jack Welch's GE focus on market position and employee upgrades. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger's Berkshire Hathaway be patient and simple. Victory is always on the margin. JP Morgan has been good at building what Dimon calls franchise value, the ability to build a brand that sells products and maintains an aura rather than just offering the lowest price. Half of Chase's customers use more than one of its products. The bank takes pains to not seem too red or blue state. JP Morgan lives by Dimonism. First and foremost, banks must satisfy all of their regulators. In order to be efficient and safe, it settles disputes with the government quickly, even if it has to cause a fight. Dimon primarily uses a fortress balance sheet, a phrase inherited from his Citigroup days. At its most basic, the fortress is built with the decision to hold more capital in reserve than even the regulations require and to use clear-eyed accounting to not disguise hidden liabilities. Rigorous risk assessments at the bank came before growth. Because in banking, you can always grow in ways you shouldn't by loaning more to people unlikely to pay you back. JP Morgan's meetings could be 90% negative, focusing on what could go wrong. Dimon said banking is a vanilla business. People who take it more vanilla do better. What JP Morgan Chase has managed to do, which has really surprised people, is finding ways of growing as the largest bank in the world. People thought the banking industry wasn't a growth industry. The only way to grow was by acquiring other entities or taking on excessive risk. But JP Morgan Chase can grow in all of their businesses, predominantly organically. Dimon likes a fortress balance sheet, which, like an ancient walled city, prepares a business for siege or attack and allow it to hold out until the crisis passes or the cavalry arrives. The three main concepts are the business debt to equity ratio. The calculation is total liabilities divided by total equity. A fortress balance sheet has much more equity than debt, which means you need a ratio of at least less than 1.0. You also need debt service coverage, or enough cash to pay your debt obligations and then some. Look at your earnings, then add back interest expense and non-cash items like depreciation. If this ratio is over 2, you're in the blue. Finally, liquidity is key. A balance sheet heavy in items like unused equipment is tough to convert to cash. A fortress goal is enough in current assets to pay short-term liabilities.